What's up, y'all? It's your host, Akeshku. Y'all know me as Sensei AK. Let's say thank you for clicking on the Dojo podcast. We have so much to get into. Let's start this off strong, hot, heavy. Russell Westbrook has officially retired. Legitimately my favorite NBA player of all time. When I was young, do y'all remember Ben 10? I remember Ben 10. Ben 10 was one of my favorite shows as well. I used to play this game where it felt like I was wearing an Omnitrix and I would rotate it and I would pick the NBA superstar that I would want to play like, and I was always picking Russell Westbrook because of Russell Westbrook means so much to me. He is the amalgamation of everything it means to be a basketball player that does not have the hype, that does not have all the extraterrestrial talents and skills and all the little knickknacks of the game. But guess what? He put his heart on the team. He put that heart on the sleeve and he flexed the muscle that he had. One of the reasons why I truly love Russell Westbrook, it felt like, y'all know when everyone was looking around being like, oh, Stephen Curry's just like a regular guy. Stephen Curry, he makes the regular person feel like he could be an NBA player. That was Russell Westbrook for me. Russell Westbrook, even without the dunking, I'm not even going to talk about that inhuman athleticism. Let me just stick to the fact that he was a hustle and bustle player that did not care who he was going up against. He just made sure, hey, don't worry about it. I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to get that job done. But let's start this off with with the rise of point guards. There has been a litany of different point guards that's had to play a momentous amount of effort into what the NBA is right now. It was hitting the point where different eras had different things that stuck out, and we were entering the small forward era in that 2010s, those late 2000s, early 2010s basketball. It was all about that wing. It was all about those threes. LeBron James was killing it. Kawhi Leonard was killing it. Paul George, on and on and on. But there was something that's going on with the point guards. Russell Westbrook, Stephen Curry, CP3, Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillard. There was a litany of different point guards that we were watching as they were changing the league, even at their smaller size. But with Russell Westbrook was showing that not just energy, he was going to put in so much effort that he was going to out-rebound centers. He would out-assist anybody. He would always be sprinting down the court. And it got to the point where people tried to look him in the eye and tell him, hey, you are doing us a disservice by your play style. While we're watching players rake in millions of dollars, but we look at Russ and be like, you know what? He actually loves the game. He lives, sleeps, and dreams about the game of basketball, while others just pull up and treat it like an employment situation that they're just hating to wake up every morning and just do their job. He would wake up every morning and grind. And that's one of the reasons why I love Russell Westbrook. And let's talk some hoops. Let's talk some hoops. He's one of the few. He shows you what an offensive engine from the point guard position can truly mean and do for the rest of the team, because of not only was his production just proven all throughout his career, as long as you gave him the minutes, he was going to show you stats at the other side of the ball. He was putting up such a momentous shooting performances day in and day out. He ended up with the most triple doubles of all time. And people would look him in the eye and say, nah, we don't even need that. It got to the point where not just the triple double stature was just a mundane thing. He was showing that you could control the game by yourself. And it would always blow me because of, with his triple doubles, right? He has shown you time and time again, it doesn't matter what type of team that you put him on, he will able to drag them into not just mediocrity, but they would actually get to the BB square-footed inside that playoff. You would watch as he would take the trashiest, the most average players and say, you know what, we're gonna make a playoff run. Don't even worry about it. I remember that year that Kevin Durant left, the first year, and then he really shown what now I can do what I want, can really show the league. He went, I think he was putting up like 31, 10, and 10. The amount of offensive importance that he was showing, because of not only was he a scorer, right? Score first guard. He was never a shooter. He was always indebted into the idea of scoring the basketball without needing a shot. And that's another thing. One of the reasons why it always pissed me off when I'd watch us always clamor and be like, once this guy gets a jump shot, once this guy learns to shoot, he will be crazy. He would be dominant. Russell Westbrook was too athletic for his body. He was not able to learn how to shoot, and he was still effective. And the amount of disrespect that he was getting on this court, and he was still showing up and still being responsible for 50 plus points every single game for 3 years. But I will say this, as time will go on, the remembrance of Russell Westbrook will get very weird. And I was already seeing parts of it once he did say, you know what, it's time for me to hang it up. I'm seeing everybody coming out the woodworks. Russ is one of the greatest point guards of all time. Russ was such a monumental teammate, and he helped me do this, and he showed me how to do this. He went and changed the trajectory of my career. But just 6 months ago, it was Westbrook. I will never forgive the world for what they did to disparage the Russell Westbrook name, especially that Lakers stint. Because there's one thing that people would do with Russell Westbrook. They would come together and throw him blame. They would blame him no matter what the scenario was. And honestly, I feel like that's where I got my deep-seated upsetness to Kevin Durant, because once he left, and I was watching everybody come together and say, he left because he couldn't play with Russ. Russ was too over-demeaning. Russ was overbearing. He was going out of his way to make the game difficult for Kevin Durant. And I would sit here and I'm like, that was the worst spaced team in, honestly, NBA history. The shooter, I remember there were shooters. The person that they would bring to the field to say, hey, you're going to be the spacing of this Oklahoma City 2011 finals run. Thabo Stefalosha. Serge Ibaka, Kevin Martin, and that's what it is. Those were the shooters that they would come on. I remember when they started Andre Roberson, and I was looking at this roster one day, and I was thinking to myself, so is the only shooter on this team Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook mid-range shooting? And you were expecting this team to go and try and do something with this roster. And don't even get me started with the OKC Thunder being so cheap that they wouldn't want to extend a James Harden entering his prime. You know what? The next year he was already in MVP discussion, but hey, I'll move on. But even after all the turmoil, trying to make it work, trade after trade, once Kevin Durant left, they tried to get him some help with Paul George. They tried to pull in with Carmelo Anthony. He was way past his prime, and they were still trying to make real pushes for something great. And it just never worked. It just moved to the wayside. And I will say this. Some of my favorite basketball player, my favorite iteration of a basketball player is Russell Westbrook, Houston Rockets era. That might be some of the greatest hoops I've ever seen in my life. I don't know if it's there's something crazy that's going on in Daryl Morey, and Mike D'Antoni's like the inside of his noggin is just crazy. If you split his head open, you'd see the it clown running around trying to make some diabolical moves, because the fact that he said, hey, how about we do this? James Harden, you're averaging 36 points, 36, 8, and 10. Let's go get your homie. Let's go get Russ. He just got done averaging like about 31 points. He just dropped off a scoring top. He has 2 of those, but hey, we'll talk about the scoring a whole nother day. Y'all ain't ready for that conversation of one of the greatest scoring guards one of the greatest scoring point guards of all time, but we're not ready for that conversation. We'll move on. How will we get him? How about we trade Clint Capella? Let's pick up Robert Covington. Let's put PJ Tucker on some stilts. And how about we move from there? How do you feel about that? You think that would work? And it worked. I was watching game after game where they would both put up a 26 to 37 point triple double that they would each go and put up together. And I was watching to the point where I was like, damn. So it's just one-on-one, just 5 out. And I was looking at some of their schemes the other day. You ever tried to run a pick and roll where the smartest option is to fade to the 3-point line, and now it's a one-on-one with your center or your slow-footed guard, because guess what? You have to put your best defensive guard on James Harden, and they got to do it your best and try and put your 3 on Russell Westbrook and try and go one-on-one, and he would just like blow past you and try and rip the rim off. Because keep in mind, he still had his knees. Pat Bev did not take his... Pat Bev tried to take his soul. He's tried to rob him of everything that made him great. That offensive, that nuclear jet fuel that was burrowed inside of his knee. They tried to steal that from him. And he said, no, I can still hoop. I got more in the tank. But I digress. I look back on that era and like, yeah, that was when hoops was all the way. And I'm saying this now, that team would have made some crazy noise if they didn't run into literally the one team that would blow that whole team up. Because of when they ran into that 2020s Lakers squad, I was watching as their point guard LeBron James said, don't worry about it. Let me go one-on-one with James Harden for 48 minutes a game. I am excited to do that. And I said, hey, Anthony Davis, you don't like playing against centers? You don't want to be the 5? Fine. Go ahead and guard Russell Westbrook. Now, what are we doing? That's cheating. That has to be cheating. But I digress. And this is the year when they had Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, LeBron James, and Danny Green all on one team. Oh, it was insane. There was nothing they could do about that. And then he goes to the Wizards, has another All NBA season. Keep in mind, he just came off of an All NBA season with the Rockets. But hey, we're not counting right now. It's not that important. And then he goes to the Lakers, and then it just goes down from there, because the Lakers stands the most toxic fan base in the United States of America's sports history was the 2022 Los Angeles Lakers team, because they were like, oh, every single problem that could be a problem, it has to be Russell Westbrook's fault. From the memes to the back talking. And it made me sad because they were like, I remember they were talking about, Russ was like, yeah, Bron is fake. I don't know what y'all, he's just fake. I was like, oh, my heart, my heart. But I digress. They were doing some petty nonsense all throughout that season, especially when it came to the press conferences. But that's the only thing more petty that was going on in the press conference I would have to think about would be all the way back when they were trying to make LeBron James Kyrie Irving's father. Like, Kyrie Irving's father was not literally part of his life and literally still going to the games and supporting his son. But I digress. Clippers, forgettable. Nuggets, okay, still a little bit forgettable. And then this Kings season, he goes, I think he coming off the bench occasionally. Keep in mind, I did not watch that much Kings basketball. I'm not watching DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Russell Westbrook, Sabonis pair. That is such an expensive nonsense lineup. That lineup is so nonsense in our year of our Lord of 2026. That is insane. Oh, that sounds like worse spacing than back in those OKC days where Thabo Cephalosha and Kevin Martin was y'all main shooters and Andre Roberson was your catch and shoot guy. I digress. And now we get to the point where he said, you know what, it's time for me to just hang it up. I'm done with it. I can't go on. And then you get some more news coming out. He could have signed he could have went back to the Kings, have a reduced role, come off the bench for Darius Acuff, which I'm not saying he should tell Darius to go eat a bag of nonsense meats. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not going to say that he should tell the young man to go in the back of the bus and go do the hoop thing. But I will say this. It takes a really big man to know when the game is just not for you. It takes a very big man to know when the league has moved past. Because one thing that I hate watching people that should have retired 6 years, 5 years, 3 years ago, still trying to muster up the strength to keep hooping when you know your era is gone. Everyone you played with is gone. You know that your knees ain't kneeing anymore. Do you know when I shed a tear the first time? I shed a tear watching Vince Carter try and revive himself on that Atlanta Hawks team. The last thing I should remember is when you were great. I shouldn't look at you on that court and say, ooh, if he got swished onto an island with me, I would eviscerate the back of their Achilles tendon if they try to go one-on-one with me. That's not a good look for the brand of basketball. That's all I gotta say about that. That's all I gotta say about that. God knows when to lead a game. But I know Russ, I know he has at least like 2 more good years left, an extra bad year. It makes me sad that he's not gonna get his farewell tour. I'm a little bit sad. I thought he was gonna go back to OKC and then he was gonna play this come off the bench, be a good clap a lot, be a very good moral support avenue type of basketball player at the end of his career. Watch the OKC Thunder get another ring because of Shea's gonna get another ring. But I'm okay with this being his last and just walking away. But I will want to let me just line up some more triple-double numbers. He has 3 games with 50-point triple-doubles. Insane. Insane. Being responsible for nearly 60. And I was looking at this number the other day. Around 32% of Russell Westbrook's assists are 3-pointers. So that number is closer to probably 70 points, 75 points was created by Russell Westbrook. He had 13 games where he had a 40-point trip dub. He had 48 games, near over half a season with a 30-point trip dubs, 136 20 points of trip dubs, and 209 Draymond Green trip dubs. That's insane. That's just ridiculous stats. And I will say this. That MVP year, really, I will say this about his MVP year. That MVP year definitely changed what it means to be an MVP. Because even back then, people were trying to throw dirt on that MVP, saying he did not deserve it. It was not that impressive. People were trying to go out their way to say, it's like, anybody could have done it. But one thing about Russell Westbrook, he shows you that as long as you're willing to try, you will and you must and you can do something great, because why not? And Russell Westbrook, shouts out to you. Ride out to the sunsets. You deserve it. One of my favorite shirts all time is my Honor the Gift gray stone gray tee. Very good pickup. Very good. Next on the docket, men, it is okay to wash your nyash. I'm getting so delirious trying to understand people's reasoning and their acceptance for being a dirty individual. How is this still a conversation in the big 2026 of people still thinking that it is some type of homosexual? They're trying to say like you are gay, and just all this extra ridiculousness surrounding around trying to keep good hygiene in your grown age. I was listening to a radio show, DJ MV. He was talking about how his wife had to show him how to clean his cheeks. Keep in mind, mid-20s is when he said that his wife went and showed him how to do his thing. And it gives me another reason that's why I always have to just take a step back anytime people are criticizing men, because you never know what they are doing. Because of the amount of times it feels as if once every season, when the leaf changes, just know there's another conversation around men not washing their nyash. And I don't know if people understand how detrimental it is for not just your mental health and your physical health, but also imagine the girl you crushing on finding out you don't wash yourself properly. Imagine the one that is apple in your eye. You sit back, they hear news that you need assistance, even though you are fully bodily able to go and wipe your own nyash, go and get soap and scrub yourself. You still refuse to do it because of its, excuse me? How are we even expecting to procreate in this life when I know that you are not able to even clean your nether regions? And that always reminds me, we never hear this bad PR coming from women. And that is insane. That is insane to me. Oh, men, just be proud and boastful about not cleaning themselves. For what is the matter? How? And I don't know if it's the lack of shame or there's too much shame into it for people to really grasp how insane that type of activity is. But I will say this: the fear of being gay or being perceived as homosexual and being perceived as homosexual or gay or things of that nature, it is so pervasive inside a lot of male friend groups and male talking points, where it seemed as if for the past, I think due to this era that we're living in, the cultural zeitgeist has been so infatuated with these culture wars and all these culture war think pieces that are designed to distract you from what is truly important in life, that people will now say everything and anything. If you're drinking fruity drink, if you let your girl pay bill, if you split in bill, and it is so exhausting. I sit back and I try and figure out, who is this all for? Because of, not only does it, I feel like the I feel like the bullseye that it paints in your own back, that you are intolerable to different ways of life, is not just limiting yourself from what is truly possible for yourself, but it seems like your masculinity and your image is so temperable, so elusively scarce, that even the slightest of different effeminate ideas would be able to pierce the way of your own living. So what is the true purpose of trying to sit back and shielding yourself from all these different things? Like, it just takes a small shoulder rub and now you're out here doing something, down you're out here wilding. Is that truly what it is? Is your masculinity truly that's scarce? But no, honestly, but the part that worries me is how isolating it can be towards your friends. Because of what did I have learned? You'll never know when somebody is different than you, especially when you go out your way to be so demonizing of anything that is not quote unquote culturally accepted. Especially if everything can be seen as taboo, I don't know if there's a way for you to live a fully involved and elated life when everything seems to be such a attack on your own character. And I started thinking about this the other day. A lot of the belief systems that people have, it seems as if it's a psyop to not just confuse, but to push people down a path of such ignorance and one-sided thinking. Because of it took me a while to realize that I or my friends are not like the average individual, especially when it comes from like the socioeconomic aspects of life, or education, or being traveled, or just trying new things in general, reading books, and finding out that that's not just like a norm for people to be indulging inside different life experiences was truly jarring to me, especially when I went and started looking onto the internet and looking at some of the comments that people were leaving. And then I was looking at the way that people would like make content and post and things of that nature, because of, I don't know if I'm very good at just curating my algorithm, or my algorithm god is so in tuned on what I want to see that they very much limit the amount of nonsensical foolery that I'm being exposed to on a day-to-day basis, that they know that the only way that I'm even okay with hearing such foolery is if it's somebody going and clowning that same nonsense ideology. It's kind of in the same way how people without a gun being pointed to their head watch Jersey Shore the reunion, and how people actually watch Zeus Network, and how there's some people that like actually through their day-to-day watch the Cooking Network at HDTV. Those are things that people, for their own enjoyment, go and they look for. There are some people that were truly entertained by going onto their TikTok and finding those fruits that are behaving as if they're Love Island characters. I was shocked. I that's another thing, especially with TikTok. You go look onto the app. You're gonna be scrolling, and you only find this out anytime that you go and you reset your algorithm. Let's say you start looking up traveling to Uganda or Nigeria or Singapore or Vietnam or something very broad that will funnel you into a very broader or very popular search terms and things of that nature. You start seeing cooking videos. You start seeing very, very monotonous, very, very milk toast type of content. Then you start seeing that viral stuff. I was swiping on my TikTok. I know my algorithm is spoiled if I swipe 6 times, and every time I swipe, every single video has at least 237,000 likes. That's how I know my algorithm is broken. But I digress. I'm looking at some of these videos, and then I find myself on dancing TikTok. Millions of views. And then I find myself on lip singing TikTok. Legitimately 15 million views of some white lady's what's it called? Lip singing to a young boy song. What is going on in my algorithm? And then I start to realize, is this what people are actually searching for? Is this what they want their feeds to be? Not just showing them. This is what makes them, this is the bean soup that makes them smile and get ready for work. But I digress. I don't know how I got to this point. Oh. NBA opening night schedule. Let me close out the last thing, and then I'll go to this. So, all this to say, if you find yourself second guessing and thinking if it's homosexual to be cleaning your nether regions, just know women, you will get more women if you are clean. So can we please at least clean ourselves from head to toe with soap and sponge and body scrub and lip and what is it? Toothbrush, toothpaste, and mouthwash, and floss your teeth a couple times. Tongue scrape. Do something. Because it's not for beauty, it's for hygiene. I don't need cancer of the mouth. And the nyash that will really show yourself when you're leaky, that you can smell it. But beyond the point. NBA opening night schedule. Crazy. It is really scaring me how fast this NBA season is coming up, and I'm so excited. Opening night. There's some games I want to talk about real quick. First, Celtics versus Pistons. These are definitely. I'm not going to say that the Celtics might have just closed their championship window. But I will say this NBA, this new NBA, this is not the year to be a weak Eastern Conference team. Because, you know what? Hold on. Let's just. I think we should just go through these NBA teams, because it's getting to the point where I feel as if there are just no more bad teams in this league. Just none, especially on the Eastern Conference. Like, let's just go through the standings real quick. Let's say the New York Knicks, they were champions. The Atlanta Hawks, they were the closest team to beating the champions. The 76ers, not only is Maxey growing into a superstar, but you get Jaylen Brown, that is a superstar, with LeBron James. You're not being serious. The Chicago Bulls. Actually, let's get to them later, because they will vex me too. The Orlando Magic, they're going to be a strong playoff team. The Miami Heat that just got Giannis. The Boston Celtics that still have Tatum. The Toronto Raptors, keep in mind, even with Pablo Torres's all his whole damning investigation, First of all, Pablo, please, Torres, please be safe. Reporting is not respected like it once was when Nixon got moved out of office for Watergate. I'm telling you, they might touch you. But beyond the point, I digress. The Toronto Raptors were able to get Kawhi Leonard is back. The last time that Kawhi Leonard went and touched that Toronto roster, they got a ring. And I'm not gonna hold you. This last year, Brandon Ingram wasn't even hooping like that. And I don't think Quickly was hooping like that either. And they were still putting pause on that on the Cavs team. Pacers, the Golden Boy is back. I promise you. I hate players like Tyrese Halliburton because if you look at the stats and you're like, this guy is trash, so okay, such an okay player, and then you see him on the court, it's like, yeah, now he gonna walk down your favorite player. You are going to like it. The Cavs, they're still going to be a top seed because guess what? Donovan Mitchell might be one of the greatest floor raisers, or ceiling and floor raisers that we've seen in a very, not just floor and ceiling raisers, just playoff performers, period. And then you go, the Wizards went and got the number 1 overall draft pick that he looks like a top 15 player just off of preseason workouts. But we gonna talk about that later. We got to see what's real. They still got Anthony Davis. They still got Trae Young. I digress. The Detroit Pistons, they were the first seed last year. You think they're going to have a drop-off that crazy? And Asar is going to have another year to really learn how to dribble a basketball? Let's be serious. The Nets are going to be okay. But you best believe they're going to look like they're trying to win games. So, yeah. The Bucks, they're okay. And the Charlotte Hornets have Naz Reid. So, you guys just know it will be very dangerous once this season really starts running. But let's talk about opening night. Since that I've laid down some groundwork. Celtics versus Pistons. I don't know how good Tatum will be when he comes back, because not only is it difficult to come back full strength after such an injury and finally getting a full offseason to really grind and shine and really get some meat on your bones. Because what was it? He lost, I think, 33% of his muscle mass on his, left leg or something like that, which he's going to have some time to really, really fill that out. But that's a whole nother thing. But this Pistons team, I really hope when the trade deadline comes around, they go and finally make that move to get, what's his name? I hope that the Suns is ready and accepting and willing to finally let go of Devin Booker. Can we please get Devin Booker to a roster that actually wants to win a championship for once? Bro, when it touched the finals once and have never been close since. You are desecrating Kobe Bryant's legacy. But I digress. I really like that roster. I like this. I like what the Pistons are doing. I don't know how they're going to get over this Jalen Duren headache, because of one thing about the NBA. Once you tell an NBA player you are not worth that money, I promise you they will never play the same again. Or at least they'll never truly be mentally there again. Because guess what? I'm not going to say majority of NBA players are very much crybabies right now, but yeah, if you don't max them exactly once they are ready to be maxed, they'll be like, you know what? Nah, you playing around too much. I don't want to be a part of this. But I digress. It's going to be a good game. I got high hopes for those two teams. But yeah, it's probably going to be one of the slower games. 76ers versus Knicks. They are going to run. That's another thing. I thought that they were going to play up this 76ers versus I thought they were going to play up the 76ers versus Celtics rivalry so much more, because I know they're going to be playing each other at least 4 times throughout the season, and you can get your really big money makers throughout that time. I don't know if it's because they think that the Celtics are going to be very okay and pissed, but I was really hoping to see Tatum and Brown go 1v1 for real this time, because I remember when they did that in the All-Star game, and you could really see. I don't know if it's the NBA has been like laying the seeds for this Tatum versus Brown, just madness, this rivalry, but it really feels like they got something for each other coming, and they will never let it go. And you know what? Don't let it go. But I digress. What was this name? 76ers versus Knicks. I really hope losing Mitchell Robinson does not ruin this Knicks team, because I'm one of those people that I really don't think that Mitchell Robinson really had much to do with the success of this Knicks team, because of not only was he a headache the whole year, but I will say it is very difficult to be able to play a guy that you could run hack a Shaq rules in 2026. I am giving you $40 million. Can you please learn how to shoot better free throws than me? Like, what are we doing? But I digress. I will say did y'all see the video of him being like tween sidestep threes, or tween sham god three or something ridiculous? But I always love the subplot that NBA players could like do regular things, regular fun things, and just like be the greatest. Shaq could be the greatest shooter of all time if he was running with Rex, but that's I wish NBA players would play with regulars more frequently, but I digress. OKC versus the Spurs. That's going to be a great matchup. Anytime those two play each other, it's going to be beautiful. The four-way matchup that I want to see more frequently are the Nuggets, Timberwolves, OKC, Spurs. You see these four? Match them up however you want, but keep inserting that directly into my vein, because that's the only thing that's getting me through these mundane days, is waiting for these matchups. But I digress. OKC Spurs, they're going to be hooping in. And then Christmas Day, one of the matches that I want to talk about a little bit, 76ers versus Lakers. I'm going to be penciling that in so viciously, because I didn't like the way that the Lakers got off of on LeBron, and just like the whole catty back and forth, which I get it. It is LeBron. LeBron is a very catty hooper, honestly, in my opinion. I've seen for the past like 10 years that I've been watching LeBron, every single destination, and every so often he starts like playing and whispering ears and start doing the whole gems and lead GM and all that extra things that he be doing while he be on the court, which it is annoying. But it's like, come on, do you both, when someone goes low, do you have to go lower? Do you have to come in and play that foolish game? I digress. OKC versus Wolves, that's gonna be a real heater. This is going to be the year that OKC Thunder lose to the Timberwolves. That's how that's how their season will end. That's how playoffs are going to run through and do their whole thing. Those two will do something together. And this is a shorter video, but I'm gonna do some five quick hitters to round out the day. Number one, Julian Newman talking about BN is hilarious. I have seen Julian Newman play for my majority of my existing life. Yeah. From watching him as a child on Ellen do all that dribbling, to him trying to go up against LaMelo Ball, to him going to that one camp where he was dribbling too much and not moving at all, to him going through this, trying to go through college and then trying to do the streamer thing, and then trying to jump onto the podcasting world, and then trying to jump back into more mainstream content, trying to get on more like basketball stuff, things of that nature. And it has been horrendous to watch. I love the grind, but it's been too much, buddy. It's been so much. They're talking about the clips where it shows him trying to like manage his little sister's like OnlyFans or some crazy thing like that. Just a crazy time. I know his dad looks at him and sheds one tear because he really wishes that his son could have been LaMelo Ball. He really wishes that his son did not get nerfed by his height. And you know what? I feel you. If I had a basketball prodigy and the world was looking at my sons from a child, they were thinking he was going to go pro, and then he never gets beyond the height of 5'5", I would be sick. I would be so sick. Giannis or Joel Embiid? I truly think that we have lost the plot when it comes to, actually, okay, let's just assume they're both healthy, right? I might be higher on Giannis than anyone, truly, because I truly believe when it comes from power forwards, the greatest power forwards of all time, it goes Tim Duncan, Avalanche, Giannis, relatively big break, and then KG, and then goes Dirk Nowitzki. So yeah, no, I'd rather have Joel Embiid on my roster because he's the simplest player he's a simpler player to build around, and I feel like Joel Embiid's game kind of falls apart due to how much moving he's doing. You are never supposed to be able to tween, cross, stop in a dime, and then do a fadeaway shoot from the corner. Joel Embiid was always way too big for his body. He had that ginormous growth spurt his junior year when he came here from Cameroon, and his body has never been able to really grasp how athletic he really is. And then it just blew out his knees, blew out his eye. I think his like lower back hurts. It's terrible. How high am I on the Wolves? Honestly, it might be the fan in me, but hey, we playing in. Go ahead, put a ring on our finger. Yes, go ahead, go ahead and marry this team. This team is going to do crazy. I feel like we're going to see the new Showtime Timberwolves, and the league is just not ready for this Ant and LaMelo pairing, especially since they both like each other. Khabib looking at NFL players' squats, I'd be forgetting how obscenely athletic, actually not just athletic, but just like brutishly strong a lot of NFL players are. I was watching from Jalen Hurts squatting like half a ton to watching Saquon Barkley squat like 1,000 pounds. Watching what is his name? Jonathan Taylor squat more weights than I could even hope to imagine. Who's that? Was Christian McCaffrey? I think there's a crazy video of him where he put every plate in the gym on his squat rack and just did the squat. It was insane. And not even to mention, Aaron Donald might be one of the strongest humans ever. just ever. Squat 1,000 pounds, bench 500 pounds, run a 4.5. But all right, y'all. Make sure you leave a like, a comment, subscribe. We out.